The question is, what is the hadaf? What should you have as a goal? Nasba aynayk, between your two eyes, in front of your eyes. What should be your goal in all of this? I like a lot, wallahi, أعجبني مقال الشيخ بكر أبو زيد رحمه الله تعالى في الحلية. He said, حتى تنقطع دونك آمال الرجال. And in this, I think, wallahi, I really like what he said. He said, until you exceed what other men dream of being. Not you exceed what other men are. You exceed what other men dream of being. حتى تنقطع دونك آمال الرجال. The amal, what that man sits and hopes to be in his wildest dreams, you exceeded what he even dreams of being. And the same can be said for the women. حتى تنقطع دونك آمال النساء. Until a woman's dream of what she should be, you're better than that. You exceed what other people dream of being. That is how much you should take from this topic. And these akhlaq and these sifat, until you exceed what other people dream of. Now I'm going to start in the first 10 or 15 minutes, and we're going to have to speed up a bit. But I thought these muqaddimat are very important, to be honest. If you don't have them, you can't understand the topic. But if you have them, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, the topic will become clearer and clearer to you the more you study. Jameel. Let's talk about some of, I'm not going to say all of, some of the things that are characteristics of masculinity and femininity, in the sense they are praiseworthy to find among men and women. And there are many. But I'm going to mention some that I think are important because I believe we're falling short in them today. The first one is al-ilm, knowledge. For the person to be an alim, a person of knowledge. And you know all the famous statements like that. Be an alim or be a student, and don't be the third one. And this is true for our sisters like it's true for the brothers. And wallahi, if I'm not, no word of a lie. If someone came to me and said, you can exchange 10 men or 20 men who graduate from the Islamic universities and go back to teach the people good with one woman who does the same, wallah, I would take it. Wallahi al-azim, I would take it. If someone offered me and said, you have to sacrifice 10 men min ahl al-ilm for the benefit of one, we are in that much need. Our situation is desperate, wallahi. Ask the brothers who are involved in the da'wah. Daily, we're dealing with women's problems. Women's want to speak to you in private. Women have got all these issues they want to deal with. أين النساء العالمات? Where are the women of knowledge to deal with those issues? They are there, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're present, but they're not, we don't have enough. The fard kifaya is not being fulfilled. We are happy for our women to be ignorant as long as our men are people of knowledge. And that is khilaf ma kana alayhi an-nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's opposite to what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was upon. And if you want an example, there's no greater example than our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam married her for this purpose. He didn't marry her because of her age. He didn't marry her because she hadn't been married before. He married her so that she could learn from him and become the leading scholar of the women in Islam. And that's what happened. That's what happened. She lived with the Prophet ﷺ from a young age. She learned what the people didn't learn. Now, if you look at hadith, the fourth largest number of ahadith narrated in Islam are narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha. That's not strange. What's strange is the fourth largest number of fatawa in Islam are issued by Aisha radiallahu anha. Only 3 men issued more fatawa than her. More verdicts and more opinions and more rulings than she did. And only 3 men narrated more hadith than she did. So we need to try to replicate that concept among our women and to give attention to our sisters in knowledge. Because if we can do that, a lot of the problems we're facing at home, a lot of the problems with kids, a lot of the problems with our sisters they're facing in their day-to-day lives can be solved by that. And I'm not saying they're not present. Wallahi, there are women of great knowledge in this ummah, but there aren't enough in comparison to the number of men that we have. The second of the sifat, which should be present in the perfect man and the perfect woman, is practicing that knowledge and a tadayyun, being a person of religion. And I'm going to give you an evidence for that. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا خَطَبَ إِلَيْكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. If there comes to you to marry your daughter, a man you're pleased with his religion and his character, marry her to him. So what's the Prophet ﷺ praising? The man of religion. And if you're going to marry, you have to marry the man of religion. طيب. What did he say about the woman? عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال تنكح المرأة لأربع لمالها ولحسبها ولجمالها ولدينها فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك. Choose the woman who has religion. Therefore, the sign of a real man is أن يعمل بعلمه, to practice his knowledge, and the sign of a real woman is أن تعمل بعلمها, that she acts according to her knowledge. The third that I'm going to mention, and these are just أمثلة that are مشتركة بين الرجال والنساء, is الصبر والتحمل. وإن كان الرجل ينبغي أن يكون فيه أكثر. يعني الصبر and التحمل. Even though you can say a man, it's even more emphasized for a man that he should be able to put up with difficulty. لكن حتى the woman, sabr is for both. Sabr is for both. And sabr is of three types. الصبر على طاعة الله, والصبر عن معصية الله, والصبر على أقدار الله المؤلمة. Patience in doing good deeds, and patience in keeping away from haram, and patience in putting up with the painful decree when Allah decrees something hard for you. And this is for the men and the women. And that's why in Islam, it's blameworthy to have those women who wail over the dead and strike their cheeks and rip their clothes and all of that. Because sabr, it should be a characteristic that is found within both of them. And this is something that I want to talk about a little bit, because I really feel like it's missing in our time. Not completely, but in a lot of people. Especially the third type. I'm going to talk about as-sabr ala aqdari Allahi al-mu'lima. Having sabr upon difficulty. And sabr upon your situation. Wallahi, we see people today, men and women, in their marriage, there's no sabr. Marriage is no sabr. Yani the guy is quick fire talaq. Yani quick fire talaq. The woman, she's off to seek the khula the first time their husband left her with something important to do. There's no sabr. And people claim they can't do it. They're telling you, I can't do this anymore. Well, he wants me to cook. He wants you to cook. He doesn't want you to build a house. He's not asking you to do something that is beyond you. But we today have got a very low threshold of sabr and tahammul in difficult situations. My husband leaves me for like a whole 2 days. Wallah, people used to go before for jihad. They used to go for months. The woman doesn't know where her husband is. Today the husband goes to the salat al-jama'ah. She's calling him, why are you not coming back for? Where's the sabr? It's gone. Men, there's no sabr upon hardship anymore. People join a course and quit. Start studying Arabic, next 2 days he's quit again. Start a job, quit because I don't like it. Akhi, did someone tell you you have to like your job? I missed that part. Do you have to love your job? Your job has to be this ladha that you just enjoy every minute of your day. If you have it, alhamdulillah. But you're supposed to go out and work and bring back money by Allah's permission to feed your family. Get on with it. Why don't you have sabr upon it? We saw just a lack of sabr among people and a lack of tahammul. And this is more blameworthy for men than women. It's required from both. But it's especially blameworthy when you have a man لا يتحمل المشاكل. He can't put up with problems. And the first time something goes wrong, he starts getting himself stressed and he falls apart. And this is something extremely blameworthy. A person is supposed to be rough and tough in that way, like able to put up with difficulty. And I'm going to give you something Umar said, radiyallahu an, which amazed me, wallahi. It's a very amazing statement. He said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالتَّنَعُّمْ وَزِيَّ الْعَجَمْ وَتَمَعْدَدُوا وَخْشَوْشَنُوا. He said, keep away from luxury and keep away from the adornment of the kuffar. The ajam, he said, let's be honest, he said, keep away from the adornment of the non-Arabs. The way they dress themselves up and the way they behave. Tama'adadu, be like ma'ad, the Arabs of old. Wakhshawshanu, be coarse, be rough. He said this to the men. Why are you finding yourself in luxury here? Why are you behaving like Kisra? You're there with silk clothes and fanning yourself and waiting for someone to put grapes in your mouth. Ma hadha rajulan. That's not a man. Iyyakum wa tana'um. What did this to you is what? At-tana'um. You're living the luxury life. You're living the luxury life. So the minute the AC goes off, your life falls apart. The minute your phone loses signal, Allahul Musta'an. It's the end of the world. I lost my phone. Why? Because you're living a life of luxury and you never ever allow yourself to step out of that luxury. Now someone might say, Muhammad Tim, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Why are you putting so much pressure on us? It's a blessing of Allah. Allah has given us this nice place to live and comfort and everything. Nice car, nice house. Sahih. It's from the blessing of Allah. Bila shak, wala raib. No doubt. But if you allow yourself to be captured by it and you never take yourself outside of that tana'um, you lose your rujula. The Prophet ﷺ sometimes used to command his companions to walk without shoes. Take your shoes off, walk on the sand. So that they never ever got used to comfort. I love comfort, don't get me wrong. If you offer me a 5-star hotel, I'll take it any day. Jazakallahu khayran wa barakallahu feek. But I'm more than happy to live in a shack with a corrugated roof of iron and no AC. And you have to be able to handle both. Everyone likes luxury. I like a nice car, like you like a nice car. But if you give me like this old car with broken AC, if it gets me from A to B, khalas atahammad. Let me put up with it, no problem. So it's not about hating luxury, but don't allow yourself to be captured by it. Don't allow yourself that you never test yourself to live without it. Always you're just in one, like wrapped in cotton wool. And this is one of the things that's ruining the next generation of Muslims. We as parents are wrapping our kids in cotton wool. We don't allow them to make mistakes. And I don't mean the haram. I mean in their umur dunyawiyya. We protect them from everything. We literally put the food in their mouth so they don't have to earn anything or bring anything to the table or do any hard work. And we never ever test them. We never give them a chance to experience life without luxury. And so we literally generate a generation of weak people who cannot handle the reality of life. Because we never expose them. It's not their fault. We didn't expose our children to that. We wrapped them up and we covered them and we told them it's a very nice world outside and everyone's so nice and don't worry. And when they, no wonder they got triggered by the news that they see on the TV and the life that they see. Because we brought them up in this cotton wool. You need to be willing to let yourself sometimes test living without that luxury for a while. Especially the men. يتحمل المشاكل. You as a man are supposed to be protecting your women from the hardships of those problems that life, yani Allah's qadr brings to your life. You got money problems, you're not supposed to be going crying to your wife about it. تتحمل. Put up with it. Figure it out. دبر حالك. Go figure it out. Go do something. You go figure the way you're going to sort yourself out. But we became so wrapped in cotton wool that we can't actually handle when problems happen to us. So sabr is mushtarak between the male and female, but especially for a man, tahammul. If a lady goes through a hardship and she's, teary and she's upset, I'm going to say to her, laki dhalik. That's not too blameworthy for you. As long as she doesn't go to the extreme of ripping the clothes and, saying bad things about Allah and whatever. But I don't like to see a man that can't handle when things go wrong. For you have to, this is from the benefits of traveling, ikhwani. Wallahi, from the benefits of ar-rihla fi talab al-ilm. Look now, brothers from London, from East London, and I know some brothers here, but some brothers from East London, I'm not going to come all the way to West London. Wallahi, West London is so far away. Here in the same city, people used to travel 6 months in the desert on a camel for a hadith. You can't take the tube from one side of London to the other. Where's the tahammul? Where's the ability to put up with hardship? Traveling is one of the things that gives this talabul ilm. You sit on the floor, your legs hurt, you travel, you run out of money, you go to the shaykh and the shaykh doesn't give you what you want. وَتَتَحَمَّلْ. You learn how to put up with hardships. And that's why in reality, in general, umuman, there are some exceptions. There are no people who reach the level of being scholars of Islam except by a rihla fi talab al-ilm, traveling for the sake of knowledge. With some exceptions, like those who grew up among the scholars, like in Medina, Imam Malik and so on. But generally, if someone didn't travel for seeking knowledge, you're not going to see from that person wisdom and putting up with hardship and so on. طيب, continuing on with the things that are الصفات المشتركة. علو الهمة, high aspirations. What's sad is we have high aspirations in this dunya. But when it comes to the deen, we don't have علو همة. We don't really have a desire to be something. And we're happy to be ahadun nas, one of the people. I want to be just someone who, I know how to pray, and I do my stuff, my prayers, and I give my zakat, and I do my fasting. Alhamdulillah. But that's not what Islam calls us to. A man cannot be a man, and a woman cannot be a real woman unless they have ulu al-himmah. Unless they have high aspirations. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُ اللَّهُ الْجَنَّةِ فَسَلُوهُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ. If you ask Allah for Jannah, ask Him for Al-Firdaus. Don't ask Him to be the last one in the door. Ya Rabb, if you give me Jannah, I'm happy to be the last person. No, I'm not happy to be the last person. I want to be from the people of Al-Firdaus, Al-A'la min Al-Jannah. I want to be among As-Sabiqeen. As-Sabiqeen, the people who are high ahead of other people. Will Allah make me one of them? Al-ilmu indallah. Allah knows that. But in my asking Allah, I want to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to be one of those people. Why do we have men and women who are content with being average? Not even average, man. Average is even being generous to them. Less than average. They're content to be just swimming along. I do my basics. Alhamdulillah, you're better than a lot of people if you do your basics. Alhamdulillah. But where is ulu al-himmah? Where's the high aspiration? Out of a room like this, we should have ulama and we should have people leading the Muslims and we should have people who are changing the world by Allah's permission. Everybody just wants to be an average Joe, average Muhammad and Ahmed and Fatima and Maryam. There used to be women that would change an ummah. The mother of Maryam alayhi salatu wassalam. Maryam's a big example. Let's go with the mother of Maryam. She changed an entire nation by Allah's grace and Allah's help. Where's the ulu al-himma? We have to have high aspirations. Now someone might say, طيب, Muhammad Tim, what's the difference between ulu al-himma and kibr? That's very true. What's the difference between high aspirations and between arrogance? What's the difference between saying, I want to be a scholar, and being arrogant in front of the people? The Prophet ﷺ defined arrogance. He said, it is batarul haqq wa khamtun nas. It is, أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, it is to reject the truth and look down on other people. So I'm not looking down on anyone. I'm not belittling somebody. I'm not rejecting the truth, but I just want to be the best that I can possibly be. I want to have big dreams. But here now I've got another problem. What's the difference between ulu al-himma and at-tamanni wa taswif? We said, إِنَّ الْمُنَى رَأْسُ أَمْوَالِ الْمَفَالِيس. Dreams are the currency of the bankrupt. The guy who's sitting at home claiming unemployment benefit with his feet on the sofa, and he's got big dreams too. He's sat there dreaming of being one of these rich businessmen, billionaires and all that. He's dreaming of his yacht. He's dreaming of his fast car and his house and all that. And he's still going to claim universal credit at the end of the week. For what's the difference between taswif and ulu al-himma? Procrastination. The difference is getting up and doing something. The person who says, I want to be an alim, and every day this person makes his hand sore from writing Islamic knowledge. Is he guaranteed to be an alim? No, he's not guaranteed. قد لا يصل. But at least he's got up from his chair and he's working for it. So don't confuse these three things. The three things not to confuse: lofty aspirations, arrogance, and procrastination. These three are not the same. Big aspirations means you dream big and then you get out there and you work for it. Pride means you belittle other people. I'm more knowledgeable than you. You don't know anything. That's pride. And taswif and procrastination is, I've got a dream to be a big alim and tomorrow I'm going to start learning. Well, maybe the day after tomorrow, but next week, inshallah, after, and when Ramadan comes. That's taswif. Sawfa wa sawfa. I'm going to do it. Some of them said there's nothing more harmful to a Muslim or a student of knowledge than saying, I'm going to. So have big dreams and get up off your chair and start working for those dreams. Rijalan wa nisa'a, men and women. From this is, the shared characteristics is as-sidq, truthfulness. And al-wafa, fulfilling your responsibilities. And one of the sad things today, even the truth became negotiable. We have words today like, it's my truth and your truth. Ikhwani, the truth is one truth. It's not, there's no my truth and your truth. Like we wrap people up so much now, we say, it's okay, that's your truth. Your truth. The truth, al-haq. وَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالِ. There's nothing after truth except falsehood. Truth is one. There's opinions. I have ra'i wa ra'ik. My opinion and your opinion, no problem. But the haqq is just one. There's not my haqq and your haqq. The haqq is one. Truthfulness and al-wafa. And subhanallah, we lost that in ourselves. Al-wafa. Someone you can trust in them, that when they say they're going to do something, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, they will do it. Unless Allah Azza wa Jal blocks every road for them, they'll do it. And that should be in men and women, whether a brother or a sister. But I'll give you a tip that I've learned, which, because I'm very bad at this. Wallahi, أنا لا uzakki nafsi abadan. I've learned that maybe one of the easiest ways to achieve al-wafa, like to be someone who fulfills your promises, and is not to make too many promises in the first place. We do that. You want to help someone and the person says, Akhi, please, can I just do this? Can you please just help me with this? Will you please just do this for me? And the habit is to say, inshallah, I'll do it. Of course I will. Yes, inshallah. Fast forward a month, all of them are cursing you. You didn't do this. He doesn't fulfill his promises. My mistake is just saying yes to too many people. Learn how to say no to people. Say, Akhi, wallah, may Allah honor you and make it easy for you. Forgive me if I can't do it. That's it. And then when you do say you'll do something, you will do everything in your ability to fulfill it. And from the characteristics that are shared is the characteristic of ihsan. Ihsan meaning doing everything the best way you can. Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. Allah commanded you to have ihsan in everything you do. In everything. Allah commanded you to have ihsan. Excellence. In every single thing that you do. Allah commanded you to have excellence. SubhanAllah, sometimes we want to have excellence in say our prayers. That's true. But sometimes we don't have excellence in things that Allah requires it from us. Like for example, the umur al-bayt, the matters in the house. Just, keeping on top of the house, organizing it, keeping it in a good situation, keeping the house running. Men and women. Why do we not want to have ihsan in this as well? Do everything the best way that we possibly can. Too many of us are just content to just mashi al-hal, just make it however, just do it however it is. And from the characteristics that are shared is al-ithar. And it's a special type of karam, of generosity and nobility. In fact, it is from the highest standard of generosity and nobility. And that is giving up what's yours for others. And in this, I'm going to give you the example on the side of the sisters. I'm going to give you the example of our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. When Umar radiallahu anhu, Umar was stabbed and he was bleeding to death. He said to his son, انطلق إلى عائشة أم المؤمنين فقل يقرأ عليك عمر السلام ولا تقل أمير المؤمنين فإني لست اليوم للمؤمنين أميرا. Wallahi, this is Umar. Umar is bleeding out. He's dying. He says to his son, go to Aisha, the mother of the believers, and say that Umar gives his salam, and don't say the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why is he saying don't say the Amir al-Mu'mineen? Because he's going to ask Aisha a favor, and he doesn't want it to be a command. It's not an amr. I'm not commanding you as your leader to do it. Don't say to her the Amir al-Mu'mineen. I'm not the Amir of the Mu'mineen today. Today I'm a man who's dying. وَقُلْ يَسْتَأْذِنُ عُمَرْ ibn al-Khattab أَنْ يُدْفَنَ مَعَ صَاحِبَيْهِ. Umar is asking if you would consider allowing me to be buried next to my two companions. Look at the role, look at between men and women, people say about how Islam oppresses. Umar is the Amir al-Mu'mineen, the army of the Muslim at his disposal. The command is his to give. And he says, go to Aisha and ask her, would she be willing to give me permission to be buried next to my two companions? فَسَلَّمَ وَاسْتَأْذَنَ. He went, he gave the salam, and he asked permission. ثُمَّ دَخَلَ, and he asked permission to enter. ثُمَّ دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا, he came to Aisha. فَوَجَدَهَا قَاعِدَةً تَبْكِي. He found her sitting on the ground crying. He said, يقرأ عليك عمر بن الخطاب السلام ويستأذن أن يدفن مع صاحبيه. He said, Umar is giving you salam. And he asks, would you allow him to be buried next to his two companions? فقالت, she said, كنت أريده لنفسي ولأوثرن به اليوم على ولأوثرن به اليوم على نفسي أو كما قالت. The hadith narrated by Al-Bukhari. She said, I wanted that space for myself. That's my space to be buried. And the space next to her father and husband. She had left 3 spaces in the grave, that place. One for the Prophet ﷺ, and for her father Abu Bakr, and the 3rd one is hers. It's her house, her property. The 3rd one is hers. She said, I wanted this grave to be for me, myself. But today I will certainly prefer Umar over me. And she gave it to him. This is أعلى درجات الكرم, the highest level of al-jud wal-karam, generosity and nobility, is to take something that's yours, that you need and you want, and give it up. What did she give up? She gave up being buried next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine what it's, you can't imagine, there's no words to imagine what it's like to be buried next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr. And she gave it up for Umar. So these are some of, not all of them, but some of the things that are connected to being a real man and a real woman, and they are sifat mushtaraka. And there are many others. I chose them because I thought these are things where we might fall short today.